quick. Should be able to fix that. Go to your jack. Oh, that's not what we're looking to do. Go to dash. Welcome to Game 2 at Bob Wren Stadium as the Bobcats look to bounce back against UIC. The Flames, they took Game 1 5-0. They're looking for a sweep here this afternoon. Once again, welcome to Athens, Ohio. My name is Cedric Granger, and today I'm joined by Ellie Metzler and Carson Francis. We got a great crew here for you for game number 2, and we're just about 3 minutes away from first pitch. Let's go into the starting lineups for both teams while we have a second. First for UIC, it's Zane Zielinski leading things off. Well, A.J. Hinkle coming off of a 2-home-run game. He's batting second. Jackson Bassett is batting third, while Kendall Ewell is batting fourth. Race Peterson is in the 5-hole, while A.J. Taylor is batting sixth. Pombo Nicoludis bats seventh for the Flames, while James Harris and Carson Roberts, they round out the lineup at 8 and 9. Defensively for the Bobcats, it's Alex Finney behind the dish. Wes Lugg is at first base, while Billy Adams goes to second base. Jaron Nelson will stay at shortstop, and Nick Dolan, he's into the fray at third base. A.J. Roush is in left field. Gideon Antles in center, and Paulie Mancino is in right field. That's your quick lineup there for both squads. But now one guy that we forgot to mention, he's your go-to guy on the mound. It's Blake Gasky, who gets the start today for the Bobcats, Carson.
I look for Blake Gasky to have a bounce-back game. First home game on the campaign for Gasky. Not his best stuff in his last start against Campbell. Look for Gasky to have a redemption game here at the Wren.
He'll aim for that as the Bobcats defensively not terrible at the end of the game. They gave up the home runs, but otherwise they did pretty phenomenal through their final 4 innings. They shut out UIC, and they'll look to stack that into this game right here as the count is 0-1. First pitch at 3:10, right on the money for strike number 1 to Zane Zielinski. So what you're going to see from Blake Gasky, 6'2" junior from Davenport, Iowa, it brings you a fastball, a curveball, slider, and a changeup. So a nice 4-pitch mix for him. He dials in the next pitch. That was one of the breaking balls there, and that one's fouled off. That pitch got near the hands of Zielinski. UIC 5-4 on the season. Now they're back above 500. They started off the season 2-0. 1-2 home. Popped in the air over towards the right side. Plenty of room for Mancino. And makes the catch for out number 1 in right field. But the big thing with UIC was just the big-time home runs. You got to see a couple of them. I know you came a little bit early for the game, and you got to see just the power that is in their bats. And they took the guys that each had home runs. They put them at the beginning of the lineup with Zane Zielinski and now A.J. Hinkle, who had 2 home runs.
And A.J. Hinkle was the special strikeout batter in the last game, too, and he heard that, and he took it personal, sending 2 out of the yard.
Strike 1 is on the inside part of the zone to A.J. Hinkle. As we mentioned just a few moments prior, A.J. Hinkle, crazy game. 2 for 3, 2 solo bombs, as well as forcing a walk as well. So just, again, a productive day for A.J. Hinkle. Here's the 1-1 from Gasky. That one misses outside, 2 balls and 1 strike.
It's been a long journey for A.J. Hinkle, too. Suffered that season-ending injury 2 years ago. Played 37 games last year and looking to have a better campaign this year as well.
Yeah, and he got to train, as we mentioned, multiple times in Game 1 in the Northwoods League. I can't rave enough about how great that program is for players. The reason I was a broadcaster over there with the Battle Jacks and got to see A.J. Hinkle play 12 times against Battle Creek, or at least along that stretch, as there's a walk, free pass for A.J. Hinkle, but it teaches you how to grind according to Coach McDermott. And any player that gets through the Northwoods League playing a full season schedule over there, and in the case of Hinkle playing for Coach Vinny Tornincasa, one of the top coaches in the Northwoods League, it really puts you in a good spot when the college season comes around. It's a great league for development. Here's Jackson Bassett. With Bassett in the last game, he came in leading the entire conference, which is the Missouri Valley Conference, in batting average. 467 average for the catcher. But the thing that really stood out to me was his defense. Bobcats couldn't even try to get anything funky going on the base paths, given his presence behind the dish. Count is 1 ball and 1 strike to Bissett. Batter that finished 2 for 4. The pickoff attempt is not in time. Also had a walk in the first leg of the doubleheader. Wind speed starting to pick up a little bit compared to the first game. It's flowing out to right center field. 1-1. That one flared in the air to shallow center field. Billy Adams drifts back and tracks it down for out number 2.
It's a nice play out there at second base by Billy Adams. Almost looked like a punt returner going for backtracking for that ball and makes the catch. Tough play by Adams.
That's a great way of putting it there, Carson. Here comes Kendall Ewell back to the fray. Right fielder working with 1 runner on, 2 away in the top of the first inning. No score here at Bob Rinn Stadium. Blake Gasky, the pitcher. It's 0-1 on the season. The pickoff attempt not in time. His last start came against the Camels of Campbell. 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, and 1 walk. He's been pretty good with the strikeout to walk ratio this year. 9-2. Breaking balls in there for strike. I really liked his mix so far. We didn't see the slider a little bit working. Of course, the fastball too. And coming out of high school, it was at 88.3, so may have even added a little bit of extra speed. Count is 0-2. The other start for Gasky this season was 3 2/3 innings against Lipscomb. He gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, but still really great on the strikeouts to walks. 5 Ks to 1 walk. Runner goes, pitches the ball to throw down to second base. The tag, not in time. It was a heck of a throw by Alex Finney, but the hustle from A.J. Hinkle gives him a stolen bag.
Great effort by Finney to make that throw just a little late, and it allows Hinkle to move into scoring position.
Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kendall Ewell. Ewell puts a charge into that one. That one's in center field. Gideon Antles on patrolling duty, makes the catch in center field to retire the side. So 4 batters faced and 3 outs for Blake Gasky. A great start for the Bobcats defensively. They'll try to carry that over offensively into the bottom of the first inning. But while we have a chance, we want to get on camera here to preview the matchup a little bit as we want to introduce the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. We've got Ellie Metzler, who has a couple of points about this game.
Thanks, Cedric. Yeah, we have a super exciting game today. So we saw these 2 teams go at it earlier, and UIC totally shut out the Bobcats. So Coach Craig Moore told us that he is looking for his team to improve and clean up their defensive game, which we definitely saw them need to do in the last game.
Yeah, that's right, Ellie. The Bobcats, they had not 1 but 2 errors that really plagued the team when it came to the full matchup. And of course, when you have defensive errors, that leads to opportunities for walks to happen, for things to happen later in the inning that leads to more runs. And unfortunately for the Bobcats on their side of things, they weren't able to get it back on offense either with any runs. So we'll see if they can find some consistency on offense. Of course, you'll be hearing from Ellie and, of course, Carson and myself throughout the rest of the game as we go on to the bottom of the first inning. We'll go right into the next group of the lineup. We got, of course, the Ohio Bats, and we got the defense from the UIC Flames leading off for the Bobcats today. It's Alex Finney, the catcher. Paulie Mancino is batting second, while Gideon Ansel is batting third. A.J. Roush is batting fourth. Wesley Lugg is batting fifth. Nick Dolan bats sixth. And in the final 3, Blake Reed is batting seventh. Billy Adams into the fray, batting eighth. And J.R. Nelson, he bats ninth for the green and white. Then on the other side of things, for the Flames, clad in their powder blue jerseys today, looks so clean. They have Jackson Bissett behind the dish doing the catching, while James Harris is at first base. Your middle infield is made up of A.J. Taylor and Zane Zielinski, with Zielinski at shortstop, Taylor at second. Ray Peterson is on the hot corner at third base. Carson Roberts is in left field, Hinkle's in center, and Ewell is in right. For the 5-4 UIC Flames, their flame has sparked. They're trying to ignite it into a wildfire and stay hot here in Athens. And of course, your pitcher for today, Brandon Bach. They're trying to keep things going. He has a fantastic ERA this season at a 3.27. Dials in the first pitch and swing and a miss. The 0-1 home. And that one's fouled backwards. With Alex Finney, we look at how he did in the last game. Did struggle from the plate, 0 for 4, but that's not something that you can just ponder on and be like, oh, 0 for 4, tough day, as he bat 300 going into this game. So he's the type of player, Carson, that could really get it going at any moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially being the leadoff hitter, if your team wants to get a spark, as Coach Moore talked about before this game, it's going to start with him.
Puts the ball on the ground to the right side, and that is a diving play. The throw to first base is not in time. It was a heck of an effort by A.J. Taylor, but Finney hustled and got the infield single. So a leadoff base hit for Ohio. That is pretty good after the dry spell that they had in game number 1. They did not even reach third base, Carson, thanks to how great the pitching was from the Flames.
Yeah, and we talked about at the end of the last game, too. Ohio actually ended up with more hits than UIC, but just couldn't capitalize, and UIC was able to take advantage when they got on base.
So there's a pop out in a situation where I feel like the umpire got in the way a little bit of the set, so the count is 0-1. So a little bit of a tough break there for the Flames as Mancino is up at the plate. 1 runner on in a no-score game here in the bottom of the first inning at Bob Wren. Got a lefty on righty matchup here as well. The first lefty pitcher we've seen used by UIC today. 1-1 home. That one's inside. It gets past the catcher, Bassett. Bassett has no throw, and Finney swipes the second base bag.
Runner in scoring position, no outs. Bobcats looking to take advantage now, get their first run of the day.
That's what's interesting about these double headers, Carson, is that it gives you an opportunity to really reset. You may not have had the best first game, but if you come back, you can get something going here. There's one that's deep to left center field. It has a chance to go, and it's gone. Paulie Mancino with the home run for the Bobcats, and they take a 2-0 lead against UIC. The second home run of the season for Mancino to ignite the crowd here at Bob Wren Stadium. How about that, Carson?
And that's what we were just talking about. Coach Moore talked about his team taking momentum early in games, and Paulie Mancino does it right there with that 2-run bomb to start off this game 2 of the doubleheader.
Talk about setting a tone as the first pitch breaking ball to Gideon Ansel on the money for a strike. And now bounce back pitch there for Bach. Tries to tell Ohio, I'll be back after that mistake. The next pitch, another curveball that's up there for ball number 1. You'll see the curveball a lot from Bach today as that next pitch is fouled off. When it comes to his pitch mix, he has a fastball at 87, changeup from 76 to 78, and he'll also throw that curveball 75 to 77 miles per hour. 6'1" sophomore from Plainfield, Illinois. Looking for a bounce back here. We've seen our fair share of home runs today, Carson. Each of these teams lighting up a little bit. The 1-2, that should stay in the infield, or maybe just a little bit beyond that in shallow right. Catch is made by the second baseman Taylor, and that's 2 away, or 1 away, rather. But again, just how about that start for the Bobcats after a couple of tough innings, 9 innings of a dry spell, to get that first run of the day here in the 10th inning you played this game. It's got to be just like a big weight lifted off your back. Roush gets a hold of the first one, and that's down for a base hit in left field. A 1-out single for A.J. Roush, and the Bobcats are humming early.
The Bobcats weren't happy with that goose egg in the first game. They look a little more active, a little more ready to go out of the gate in this one.
So here comes Wes Slug, first baseman. Bach deals the first pitch curveball. That's there for a strike. We've seen him utilize that a lot. That has got to be his favorite pitch, it seems. UIC team that was projected in the bottom half of the Missouri Valley Conference. The next pitch fouled off, while Ohio projected in fifth. But they're just projections at the end of the day. You really can take it with a grain of salt. But the Bobcats, they finished fifth in the conference last year. And like I said, in the first game, struggles down the stretch. Runner goes, and now it's a rundown. Roush sliding, and Roush is out. Nice pickoff move by Bach. Got it down to Harris at first base. And then he threw it over to A.J. Taylor, or Zane Zielinski, rather, who was covering second base from his shortstop position to secure the out. So a 1-3-6 put out. And now the bases are clear for Lug. 0-2 after the foul ball and 2 away in the inning. But speaking of twos, Bobcats with a 2-0 lead early.
Hopefully the Bobcats don't have the same struggle on the base pass that they did in the last game as well.
Breaking ball just a hair outside. Once again, utilizing that curveball. Lug went 0 for 3 in game number 1, so looking for his first base hit of the day. The 1-2, breaking ball in there for a strike. And that is strike number 3. Down goes Lug on strikes, but not before the Bobcats could take a 2-0 lead. Paulie Mancino with 2 home runs now on the season after a 2-home run blast. We're headed to the top of the second. You're watching baseball on Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium. We made it to the second inning of the game. We'll fix that on the scoreboard real quick for you. There you go. And here comes UIC back up. Rafe Peterson, A.J. Taylor, and Pombo Nicoludis, the 3 you'll see in the inning for UIC. Team that got going in the second inning in the first matchup of the day. They got the solo home run from Hinkle in this frame. It was a 2-out home run. And then after that, it was off to the races for the Flames, a team that's 5-4, and they've now won 2 games in a row, while the Bobcats are looking to break out of a 4-game skid. Count as 1 ball and 2 strikes to Peterson.
They got that 2-0 start with a series win against Kansas. Always good when you start a season off against a Power 5 school and get a series win.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you challenge yourself, and each of these coaches are very adamant about challenging themselves in any ways that they can. Usually the Bobcats always had games against at least one SEC foe if they had a chance to, and then UIC trying to play some of the teams around as that one tapped just over to the pitcher, Gasky, in time to first base. So a 1-3 ground out, retires Peterson, and here comes A.J. Taylor. Speaking of Next games on the schedule for UIC, they take on Milwaukee coming up this Tuesday, but it starts a 12-day streak where they are going to be at home.
I like the matchup with UIC and Milwaukee kind of carrying over that Chicago-Milwaukee connection that we see with the Cubs and Brewers in Major League Baseball. That rivalry continues in some college action as well.
Yeah, you can see how that's reflected a little bit. First pitch to A.J. Taylor's fouled off for a strike. Taylor did get the start in the 2-hole in game number 1 of this doubleheader, and he struggled, went 0 for 5. But like what we said about Alex Finney, he's a guy that can get hot at any moment. That one finds the outside of the zone for strike number 2. You bat 350 coming into this matchup. One tapped foul, just a hair late on that one. And the count is 0-2 still. So here's an opportunity for Gasky. Making his 3rd start of the campaign, dials the 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He got him on the breaking ball.
Ball's a little low, but just enough, just high enough to get Taylor to swing at that one.
So Taylor goes down on strikes. First strikeout of the day for Gasky, and this takes us to Pombo Nicoludis. It's the 10th strikeout of the season now for Blake Gasky. I really like the pitch selection there. First pitch. Just misses the zone for ball number 1. Gasky started off playing for Southeastern Community College with the Blackhawks, which is in West Burlington, Iowa. And as a freshman, he made 15 appearances over there, 13 starts, posted a 9-2 record with 51 strikeouts across 73 1/3 innings pitched. 1-1. It's outside. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Nicoludis got the start in game number 1, had a single in the 2nd, and then a RBI walk as he earned a walk with a bases loaded situation, the 2-1. That one paints the outside of the zone. I really like the way Gasky is attacking the edges to make it a little harder on the batters to know when to swing or not. 2-2 dialed home. Check swing there on the breaking ball, and the count runs full.
Gasky thought for sure he had a strikeout there. Not quite.
Trying to get his 2nd one in a row. Here's the payoff. And there's a walk for Nicoludis. So 2nd walk of the day for Nicoludis, 1st in this game. And that puts a base runner on for James Harris. Two to nothing lead for the Bobcats here in the top of the 2nd inning. A 2-run bomb for Paulie Mancino is the difference in this game. Gasky, his first pitch fastball, misses outside. Count is 1 ball, no strikes to Harris. He went 0 for 4 in his first game today. Pair of flyouts, a strikeout, and a ground out. Gasky deals the pitch. The redshirt junior takes it for ball number 2. Harris stands at 6 feet tall, 210 pounds. And back in high school, he was the 2nd-ranked first baseman in the whole state of Illinois in the class of 2020. And he was the 55th ranked national player. So some really impressive hype, I should say, around James Harris coming into his college days. And he's backing that up this year, batting .300 going into this 2-game doubleheader. He'll swing through that off-speed pitch, though, for strike number 2. Count is 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away with 1 on in a 2-0 ball game led by the Bobcats. Line kick deal. Check swing there on the breaking ball once again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That was the slider that time from Gasky.
Would imagine we would see Nicoludis take off here. Full count, 2 outs.
Pitch home, runner goes, and that's fouled backwards, and Harris stays alive. Hitting in two-out situations is a factor that separates the good teams from the great teams, or the great teams from the good teams. Here's the 3-2 from Gasky. Runner goes, and it's outside for a walk. That's already the third walk that's been given out to UIC by the Bobcat pitching staff. And that's something that really hurt Jacob Tate in his start in the last game. He walked 5, Carson.
Yeah, and going back to Gasky here, in each of the last 2 at bats, he had his batters down to 2 strikes. All he needed to do was deliver that knockout punch, and Gasky kind of struggling to do that here in these last 2 at bats.
So as a result here, his catcher, Alex Finney, getting a chance to talk with Gasky, moving up. He's usually the Sunday starter, now moving into that Game 2 Saturday starting spot. Played a lot of travel ball, like many players do when they make it up to the college baseball level, but he played for the Quad City Sticks and the Iowa Sticks. A couple of travel programs over there. So first 2 batters that came up in the second were retired. Second 2 have been walked. Got Nico Ludis at second, Harris at first for the red and blue of the Flames. And here comes Carson Roberts, batting in the 9-hole in both games today. Gasky deals the first pitch. Got some horizontal movement on that one, but misses the zone for ball 1. Next pitch, wave through and missed. Count is 1 ball and 1 strikes to Carson Roberts, who made 51 appearances last season for UIC, 46 starts, and had a 294 average, which was 3rd on the Flames last year. They'll chop the 1-1 over to the left side. This is a long run for Dolan. The throw is in time. Nick Dolan and Gasky getting hyped up a little bit too after the fantastic defensive play to retire a runner left in scoring position. We're headed to the home half of the second inning with the Bobcats up 2-0. You're watching Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium, where the Bobcats have grabbed the bats, and they're going to look to continue their offensive momentum. It's Nick Dolan leading things off. Blake Reed and Billy Adams is their strike 1 to Dolan. We got Ellie Metzler back here with us. What did you hear down on the field?
Yeah, so we heard Gasky's team supporting him as he took the mound. You know, he was a key player making that play to get, that UIC player out.
Yep, the strikeouts, of course, and then again being out there, his energy, it just seemed like it was electric, Ellie, when you saw when
Right.
that out was secured by Dolan. Just
Yes.
absolute energy, and I think that's such a big factor, especially since momentum was such a big part.
Definitely. And despite allowing them to get 2 bases, he still didn't allow them to take it home, kept that score at 2-0.
That's right. All these pitchers, you got to be tough as nails when it comes to dealing with adversity. You got base runners to deal with. You might give up a home run, might give up something here. You just got to keep your head in the game. Thank you so much for your report, Ellie. We look forward to hearing what you have to say next inning. Dolan has that one fouled off. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cloudy day, sitting with weather in the 50s. And we got the pitcher, Brandon Bach, on the mound, the left-handed pitcher from Plainfield, Illinois. Working against Nick Dolan, the third baseman. The 2-2 is high and away for ball number 3, and the count runs full. Nice to see Dolan into the game. Got the rest, or got to rest in that game, or in the first game. Here's the payoff. Fastball. Rug 'em up. Called strike 3. First strikeout of the day, or check that second strikeout of the day for Brandon Bach.
Not sure if Dolan necessarily agreed with that. He kind of started his walk over to first base before the home plate ump rang him up.
So Dolan goes down on strikes. Here comes Blake Reed. Another player. We're going to see 3 players in a row for the Bobcats that got to rest in game 1 and now are starting here in game 2. Reed's originally from Gahanna, Ohio. That's in the Columbus area. 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball just clips the top corner of the zone. That was the curveball again. Bach's been pretty on target with the curve.
Reed, a graduate of Gahanna Lincoln High School. Some great athletes coming out of there.
0-2 especially as a 3-pitch strikeout. That one's right down Broadway, and make it 3 Ks for Brandon Bach.
Had a rough first inning, Bach did, but he's come out in this second inning and he's just been in control right out of the gate.
UIC had a lot of pitching excellence in game 1 as they had a combined shutout. As their starting pitcher, Schuler, went 7, and then their other pitcher for the game, Versiglio, went 2 scoreless. Here's Billy Adams. Shortstop fouls that one off to the right side. Player that came on strong for the Bobcats, got a lot of starts just as a true freshman last year. And him and Paulie Mancino, both products of St. Ignatius High School. Count is 1-2 after that foul ball. No runners on, and a 2-0 lead for Ohio in the home half of the second inning with 2 away in the frame. But Adams originally from Medina, Ohio. 1-2. The off-speed pitch flared foul to the right side. Back in 2021, Adams was the offensive and defensive player of the year for St. Ignatius. I'm sure him and Mancino are fighting for that. As there's the curveball. Got him for strike number 3. A perfect inning for Brandon Bach. 3 straight strikeouts, and he's got 4 on the game. But the Bobcats still have the lead 2-0 as we head into the third inning. You're watching Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium for the beginning of the third inning. It'll be the top of the order. We'll start off with where we started in the first inning. It's Zielinski, Hinkle, and Bissett. The 1, 2, 3 in the order for the blue and red of the UIC Flames. I love how their jerseys always reflect the Chicago flag, which is one of the better state flags, or city flags, I should say. Is the first pitch fouled in the air, and no play there for Wesley Lugg, the first baseman. And for the Bobcats, I know the state of Ohio has one of the more interesting flag designs as well, too. It's the only one that's non-rectangular in the United States. Zielinski comes into this doubleheader batting .355. He went 1 for 4 in game number 1 with a 2-run home run being his one hit. And he gets plunked on the 0-1 pitch, and he'll take first base on the free pass. Coach Moore really emphasized the main thing that he doesn't want his pitchers to do is give up free passes. A lot of hit by pitches for the Bobcats in that series where they were swept against Campbell. And now a couple of hit by pitches have come back to bite the Bobcats in game 1. And they're hoping it doesn't come back to bite them here in game 2.
Last inning was a good job of damage control by the Bobcat defense. 2 walks, left him stranded. Got to keep that energy going.
Pickoff attempt down to first base. So close, but not in time. A.J. Hinkle back up at the plate. He had a walk the last time he was up. The righty-on-righty matchup. That pitch is outside for ball number 1.
Cannot afford to dwell on your mistakes if you're Blake Gasky. Got to have a next pitch, next batter mentality.
They'll look to stay with it here. 1-0. Now it finds the bottom part of the zone there. Nice bounce back pitch. Looked like the changeup. And it counts 1 ball, 1 strike. Pickoff attempt, not in time to first base. When it comes to the trend this year for UIC, they enter this weekend winners of 2 out of their last 3 games, including a midweek victory over North Park. That one's low and away for ball number 2. However, they struggled in road games before earning their first win just a few moments ago. They lost to Lamar in San Antonio, Texas, which is quite the trip there for UIC. But that's usually the reality for northern baseball teams, Carson. That's something that's pretty interesting, is that a lot of teams that are playing up north, whether you're in Ohio or Illinois or around any of the Great Lakes regions, as the runner goes, pitches a strike, the throw down to second base. Oh, it's out of the glove of Adams. Stolen bag for Zane Zielinski. He arrived right at the same time as the baseball did. And right when Adams was trying to secure the catch, Zielinski almost had it knocked out and before Adams could secure that catch.
It's good backup coverage from Nelson, the shortstop, to prevent that ball from getting any further and allowing the runner to move up an extra 90 feet.
Yeah, that's a good point there. That would put a runner in prime scoring position. And here comes a discussion here from field manager McDermott. Coach McDermott's had 25 plus years of impact for the UIC baseball program. And they've become a perennial league champion and regional contender over the course of the last decade. He's been there since 1998. One of their biggest streaks of success was when they rattled off 9 consecutive 30-plus win seasons from 2000 to 2008. That was when the Flames were at their hottest. And they're trying to ignite that once again here in 2024. A.J. Hinkle up at the plate. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pitcher Blake Gasky looks back at second, now deals the pitch, and that one's blooped over to center field. Antle gets a read on it, makes the catch. Hinkle tags up, running to third base, and he's safe. So a productive plate appearance for A.J. Hinkle despite the flyout, pushing Zielinski to third base. And here comes Jackson Bissett.
Go to hustle by Zielinski, too.
I agree. Just being able to run immediately. He's done that at first, getting in the first. He's done that getting in the second. He's done that getting in the third.
I was just about to say he's been very active around the base pass so far.
That's the type of mindset Coach McDermott wants for his players. The grindy type guys that'll run. As that was a nasty, nasty first pitch slider there by Gasky for strike number one. But he wants players that are going to go out there and grind it out, run out everything, maximum effort, maximum hustle. 0-1 from Gasky. Off-speed pitch lifted in the air and foul. Last time Bassett was up, he popped out to the second baseman, Billy Adams. Old pitching arsenal available to Gasky. He can attack the edges of the zone. The 0-2. He went with the curveball that time, didn't break down enough. That one got up way too high for ball number one. Bassett's coming off of a 2023 season where he had 18 starts and bat 361, including having a 5-hit day against inner Chicago rival Northwestern. 1-2 is flared over to right field. Mancino. Oh, he dropped it. It fell out of his glove. Zane Zielinski scores, and Bassett's to second base. UIC is on the board here in the third.
Crucial mistake by Mancino dropping that ball, because now you have a run on the board and another runner in scoring position, as opposed to giving up a run but with an extra out and no runner on.
So we'll see if Ohio can bounce back after that sequence. But now UIC, they're in business. Kendall Ewell up at the plate with a runner in scoring position with just one away in the inning. He swings at the first pitch fastball that goes foul to the left side. This is exactly what the Flames needed, though. Just a good break to happen early, whether it's a mistake in the defense or it's you generating some good pieces of hitting. All of it helps. And with Ohio, this is their third error now of this two-game doubleheader. Count is 0-1 to Ewell. Next pitch misses inside. It looked like it was a close one there, a 50-50 call that went Ewell's way.
Coach Moore put a lot of emphasis before this weekend on his team cleaning it up defensively, limiting those errors.
Next pitch, 1-1, is fouled off by Kendall Ewell, player that was a Golden Spikes Award, a national semifinalist. Also a champion in summer baseball with the Green Bay Rockers of the Northwoods League, a team that was absolutely stacked. And I have to give him credit especially because that team, they usually stack up a lot of lefties, the 1-2. Check swing at that one, and the appeal, and it's strike three. Ewell goes down on strikes. But to that point, Ewell was a righty in a very lefty-friendly ballpark out there in Green Bay. I believe it's Capital Credit Union Park. Right field is only about 200-something feet away. So the lefties, they love it over there. It's not as friendly to righties, but Ewell's still very productive. But that time, Gasky picks up his second K of the day. And here comes Rafe Peterson with a runner in scoring position, 2 away in the frame. Gasky's pitch is popped over to the right side. Lug gloves it. Gasky sprinting, race to the first base bag, the slide, and Gasky got on there first. What a play by the Ohio defense to limit the damage to just one run, but UIC, they get on the board. Bassett forces an E9, and Zielinski scores 2-1 as this game's starting to heat up here in Athens. Home half of the third inning as the Bobcats have a 2-0 or 2-1 lead, I should say, over the UIC Flames. And Ellie, she's back joining us here. What do you hear down on the field?
Yeah, so we talked to Coach Moore before the game, and he emphasized gaining and maintaining momentum. He said the way to do that is communication, communication, communication. And when I went down to the dugout, I heard a lot of conversations, a lot of cheering for their pitcher, who made some great plays a couple innings ago. So it's crucial for the Bobcats, especially with this score. They're only up by one. They got to maintain that momentum.
That ball on the ground to the shortstop, Zelensky. In time to first base to retire J.R. Nelson. But Ellie, great points right there, too. Communication is key. And it's something that's a struggle when you're early on in your career. If you think about back to your softball playing days, when you're first out there on the field with players that maybe you're not as familiar with, it could be a little bit more challenging communication wise, right?
For sure. Especially, Gasky's starting. He didn't start last game, so he's out there just trying to do his best. He needs his team behind him.
Yeah, and when it comes to creating momentum, he plays with such a fire and such a passion. Each of the big defensive plays that have been made, there's been so much energy around each of them, and that's exactly what you need. Is we're back to the top of the lineup card with Alex Finney, but Ellie, thank you so much for your time. Really great insight there. Count is 1-1 strike to Alex Finney here in the third. Nobody on the base pass. And a nice pitch there from Brandon Bach working in his third inning for UIC. For the Bobcats, a very interesting road ahead. This is the last weekend series of the non-conference play or non-conference schedule, at least before jumping into MAC play. There is a later weekend series against Virginia Tech way out in the distance. As the count is 2-2 to Alex Finney. Here's Bach's next pitch. 2-2 fastball, swing and a miss, strike three.
Bach has just been in control on the mound ever since that slow start in the first inning. He's kind of bounced back, got back on his horse, and he's just mowing them down ever since.
Yeah, out of the last 5 batters that he has faced, he has struck out 4 of them. He'll go with the curveball for the first pitch. That one's high and away to Paulie Mancino. He was the last guy to really figure out Brandon Bach. Can he make lightning strike twice here in Athens? 1-0 pitch. He shows bunt, puts that one down the middle. The throwback down to first base is in time by Bach, and that retires the side very quickly. Ground out, strikeout, ground out to retire the side. 1, 2, 3, down they go. We're rolling through 3. We're going to the 4th here in Athens, Ohio. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium. We've made it to the top of the 4th inning on a doubleheader day, game 2. UIC took game 1 5-0, and right now, pretty competitive ball game through 3. Ohio has a 2-1 lead over the University of Illinois at Chicago. It'll be Taylor leading things off. He shows bunt as that ball kind of deflected off of the glove of Finney and kind of towards the face of A.J. Taylor. Looks like he's all right, thankfully. You also see Nicoludis and Harris in this inning for the red and blue. Of course, really like the color matchup we got today. You got red, blue versus green and white. It just works very well. It's easy on the eyes. It'll be even easier tomorrow once we get the sunny skies. It's been pretty overcast as of lately here in Athens.
At least there's no rain today.
That's right. Here's the next pitch home, the 0-2 on the ground to the shortstop, Nelson. And a nice play in rhythm. Taylor goes down on the 6-3, and this takes us to Pombo Nicoludis. We talked a little bit about the Bobcats schedule, Carson, where, you got that Virginia Tech series as the other non-conference weekend matchup that they'll have way later on in the season. And then you look at the UIC side, they also had some big-time competition that you see, at least in terms of Power 5 opponents. Kansas earlier. They also have a game against Purdue coming up on March 20th. So that's something to keep in mind. But a massive home stretch coming up for UIC. The Flames got Milwaukee, a weekend series with St. Thomas, a weekend series with SIU Edwardsville. And that's going to be a tough out, especially given my good friend Kyle Ratliff, who used to play for the Southern Ohio Copperheads, star player over there, breaking the home run record. He's there at SIUE, absolutely raking. And you got Purdue as well. So some big games coming up for UIC, but a lot of them are at home. That one put on the ground by Nicoludis. Nelson staying busy and makes the play, a 6-3 once again.
That's one of the more unique things I like about college baseball is that, college football, college basketball, you don't see a lot of Power 5 schools going to these smaller mid-major schools and playing at their place. But in college baseball, it's a lot more frequent. You see schools like Northwestern, Purdue going to UIC and playing. We see Ohio State come down here to Athens in some of these smaller sports. So it's really special in college baseball seeing those kind of matchups.
Here's James Harris. Fastball finds the inside part of the zone for strike number 1. Harris walked the first time he was up back in the second inning. But you're right about that, Carson. It's more of a even playing field with baseball. You have a lot more variability. There's swing and a miss for strike 2. As teams that are mid-majors, it's not unreasonable and uncommon to see some mid-major teams pull off upsets. Look at number 1 LSU last year falling to Nicholls State in a midweeker. This year already, Wake Forest, they lost at UNC Greensboro. Here's the 0-2. That one lined over to left field and down for a base hit by Harris. A 2-out single for UIC. And they're going to try to start a rally here in the 4th. We knew it was just a matter of time for James Harris. He went 0 for 4 in game number 1, but now has reached base not once but twice here in game number 2. But you see teams that have really performed very well, especially in the regionals. You'll see some upsets over there. And one of them's in the Missouri Valley Conference as Roberts sees the first pitch and fouls it off for strike number 1. But look at Indiana State. They're the team that finished first in the Missouri Valley Conference last year. They were 45-17 and 24-3 in conference. And they really made some noise with a nice win against Iowa in the regionals last year. 0-1. That's in foul territory and caught. Nice catch there by J.R. Nelson to complete the fantastic inning for him. And that retires the side as we are headed to the bottom of the 4th inning with the Bobcats up 2-1. You're watching Ohio Bobcat TV. Bottom of the fourth inning here at Bob Rinn Stadium. Bobcats nursing a 2-1 advantage against the Flames alongside Ellie Metzler, Carson Francis. My name is Cedric Granger. There's a first pitch that's sent deep to right field, and that one is caught for out number one by Kendall Ewell. So Antle goes down on the F9 before we could even finish our introductions. Gideon Antle putting a nice charge into a baseball, but didn't have enough carry on it. This takes us to A.J. Roush. You also see Wes Lugg due up in the frame, working against Brandon Bach. And there's a bunt laid down the third baseline. Good placement. Peterson has to throw a hard throw in time. Oh my, Rafe Peterson with one heck of a play from his third base position.
Great athleticism by Harris to reach out, make that catch at first while keeping his foot on the bag.
So some symphony from this defensive UIC. And that's 2 up, 2 down. And that means the world to Brandon Bach as well as a pitcher. Having your defense make some big plays like that behind you. And he dials up the fastball to Wes Lugg.
Only difference in this game is that Ohio started out with a bang in the first inning, but kind of reminiscent of game one where we just saw a lot of quick outs for Ohio, especially down the stretch.
Bobcats will look to avoid that by trying to put together some hits here in this 2-out situation. Lugg struck out looking last time he was up. 0-2. That ball misses outside. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good take there from Wes Lugg, who's usually a catcher but playing first base today. 1-2 home. That was a curveball that misses outside. And that's the benefit to getting up in the count, Carson, is if you're up 0-2, up 1-2, it allows you more variability in the pitch you can throw.
Have a little margin for error, a little more laid back.
And once again, being able to exercise that with the 2-2 count. Lugg does a good job getting back into it, though. Pay-off pitch coming. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 away with the bases clear. Bottom of the fourth inning and a 2-1 lead for Ohio. Line kick deal from Bach. Fastball popped in the air over to shallow left field. Zielinski calls it and makes the catch to retire the side. How about 3 consecutive 1-2-3 innings for Brandon Bach? But Ohio with the advantage 2-1 over UIC as we make our way to the 5th inning. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium. I may be a little biased, but it's one of the best stadiums in all of the Mid-American Conference, and it's a great place to enjoy a ball game. We're in the 5th inning now with UIC back up, and they're back to the top of the order. It seems like every odd inning They find themselves at the top of the lineup. Zielinski leading off a frame for the third time today. Gasky's first pitch is there for a strike. And Carson, one thing I'm noticing from these pitchers right now, each of them starting to really deal. It feels like each of the pitchers on both sides are feeling very comfortable today.
Absolutely, both sides. Even with UIC heating up a little bit offensively, Gasky's been able to keep his composure, hold his own, work out of damage, and then Brandon Bach on the other side has just been lights out ever since that first inning.
The 0-2 is low and away. Nice choice though by Gasky. With, like we were mentioning at the end, when Bach got up in the count, he dialed up a couple of pitches that were away from the zone or tried to take a couple risks. Gasky can do the same. The 1-2 on the ground to the left side. That one was laced, but Dolan reads it well. The long throw is in time. Nice work on the hot corner. They don't call it that for nothing, but Dolan made a great play on it. This brings us to A.J. Hinkle. You also see Jackson Bassett. He's due up in the frame as well. Gasky's first pitch, fastball on the inside part of the zone for a strike. When it came down to the notes, my biggest conclusion, at least in terms of the bats for UIC, Bassett is that guy. He puts one on the ground. Nelson, who was busy a few innings ago, gets it over to Wes Lugg, who has a nice stretch at first base. And maybe Gasky heard me saying, no, I'm that guy right now. But Bassett, a really strong start to the season, 467 average going into this doubleheader today. Or rather, that was A.J. Hinkle, rather. Bassett is now up. So we can say the same thing about Bassett here. He is leading in batting average in the Missouri Valley Conference going into this matchup. It was A.J. Hinkle who went down on the 6-3. And there's strike one to Jackson Bassett. See, Carson, that's how you know it's been a lot of innings here today. This is inning 14. So we're rolling along here. 0-1. That one just misses the zone. That was a close one.
What a way to start the home campaign, though, by a Saturday doubleheader.
Yeah, you're not lying, Carson. This is something that Coach Moore, he's really excited about as the 1-1 dialed in, misses the zone on the inside part of the plate, or just out beyond, or just inside the inside part of the plate. But he's happy. It's like, hey, we need to schedule more home games. I know a lot of teams in the North, you don't get that opportunity. You get so many snow games, and a lot of teams don't want to travel up here. But what you can do is you can schedule other teams in the North that maybe are sick of having to go down south, have a lot of miles put up, a lot of long bus rides and plane rides, and instead get to match up all against each other. That's why it's such a good matchup here. The 3-1 on the ground to the left side and foul for strike number 2. But with UIC and Ohio, very comparable type leagues, Missouri Valley Conference and the Mid-American Conference, similar caliber of baseball. So it just makes sense to see matchups like this. But Coach Moore even hinted at next year, a series against Butler is coming up for Ohio. So that should be an interesting one to be on the lookout for. In comes the payoff with 2 away. And that's a walk. Gasky thought he got out of the inning, but Bassett does reach first base on the base on balls.
I kind of relate to Blake Gasky right now. I thought that was going to be strike 3, inning over.
But the umpire's got a better view than we do. So with 2 away, 1 runner on now for UIC, and that brings about opportunity for Kendall Ewell. First pitch is a ball, as overall pitching has been a struggle for Ohio as the Bobcats came into this doubleheader ranking 215th nationally in ERA as a staff. So that's an area where UIC found or thinks they have an advantage here, and it's played out so far through a game and some change. Gasky looking to change that by trying to bring some gas from his pitches. That one misses low and away. 2 balls and no strikes. That was a breaking ball that time. Set up a fastball, even though I utilized the gas reference. 2-0 count. And that one's outside for ball number 3. We got the dogs barking here. It's a little bit of bark in the park here at Bob Rinn Stadium. All these players out here trying to showcase they got that dog in them. 3-0 count. And that finds the zone for strike number 1. Now, I was thinking one of you guys would reply. I know our good friend Carl Blaylock, whenever something crazy happens, he always goes, woof. 2 away with 1 on. Here comes the 3-1 from Gasky. Swing and a miss for strike 2. That was a nice horizontal movement pitch there. And that's the joy of having a pitcher that has that 4-pitch mix. You're seeing the slider, you're seeing the changeups, fastball in there, of course, as well. And he also has the curveball mixed in. That was the slider that time.
Really helps in a situation like this when you're working from behind as well.
3-2 pitch. That one's low and away, and there's a walk. Back-to-back starting pitchers for Ohio with 5 walks apiece. I remember talking to Coach Moore last year, and he said the most painful walks are the ones in 2-out situations, and those can come back to bite you. Gasky will look to avoid that here against Rafe Peterson. He's had a palindrome start to his game 2, 1-3 ground out and a 3-1 ground out. Gasky's first pitch low and away for ball number 1. UIC's projected 8th place in the Missouri Valley Conference in front of Valparaiso and behind Illinois State. 2 teams that are the teams to beat in that league. It's Indiana State and it's Missouri State, as the count is 2 balls and no strikes. Missouri State, remember they had a great game against Oklahoma State in the regionals 2 years back, as we're going to see a mound visit here. As here comes pitching coach Tim Brown. So an opportunity here to just meet here on defense, get yourself settled. What would you think that Coach Brown is saying to Gasky right there in the huddle, Carson?
I would probably say he's just telling him to settle down. There's 2 outs left. If we get through this batter, the inning's over. And I think it's just maybe a little bit of a confidence boost for Blake Gasky. He hasn't had the best showing his last 2 at-bats with back-to-back walks. So it's probably just a little bit of a calm down, focus on this batter, and focus on getting out of this inning.
You got to see Coach Tim Brown talk with his pitcher. Tim Brown formerly coached at Eastern Illinois, where he coached right-handed pitcher Will Klein, who was a 5th-round pick by the Kansas City Royals. Counts 2 balls, no strikes. Energy starting to build from UIC. Looking for some kinetic energy off of the bat, the 2-0. And the count is now 2 balls, 1 strike. A nice bounce back there from Gasky. It's exactly what you want to see after the mound visit. A pitch on the money for a strike. As you can see, the chatter starting to build up from both sides now. And let's see, it looks like an equipment violation here. Finney gets his catching gear back set up. Count is 2 balls, 1 strike. I'm loving it. The energy seems to be building a little bit in Bob Rinn Stadium. Got the dogs out. You got a lot of fans coming in here for what's been a competitive game in game number 2 of the doubleheader. Here's the 2-1. Fastball finds the edge of the zone. And it counts 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Temperature outside's only in the 50s, but this atmosphere here at the Wren really starting to making it feel like baseball season.
That's right, that's right. Or it could just be the Flames, you know, bringing that fire to heat things up temperature-wise. Counts 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch fouled backwards. And the count remains the same as Gasky got 2 outs for the first 2 batters he faced in Zielinski and Hinkle. He forced weak contact. He walked Bassett and Ewell. And that's how there are 2 runners on right now for UIC. Here in this 5th inning, I want to say thank you all for joining us. Here comes a big pitch right here, the 2-2. And that's fouled backwards. And look at these competitors go to war. Gasky and Rafe Peterson.
My eyes might be deceiving me. That bullpen's a little far out, but it looks like the Bobcats got Zach Weber warming up out there.
Yeah, Zach Weber, a pitcher that's made a couple of starts before. In Ohio, they only used 2 pitchers in that first game, so it could be another long relief type effort if Gasky can find his way through 5. We'll do it again at 2-2. And once again, fouled backwards by Peterson to stay alive.
It's quite the at-bat here.
It sure is by Peterson, a player that has all the experience in the world. Over 100 appearances for UIC over the last 2 years and has been consistent, hovering around 300 as a batter. 2-2 on its way. And that's outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Good work by Peterson to not take the cheese on the slider.
You know, sometimes in these long at-bats, you can tend to get impatient and maybe go for those pitches that you're not supposed to swing at. Good job there by Peterson.
Comes a big payoff pitch here in the 5th inning. 3-2. Runners go. Look 'em up! Called strike 3. Third strikeout of the day for Blake Gasky, and he's through 5 here at Bob Rinn Stadium, Ohio. Maintains a 2-1 lead here in Athens. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium, home half of the 5th inning with Nick Dolan, Blake Reed, and Billy Adams due up. But before that, Ellie Metzler. How have these pitchers been? It's been phenomenal seeing their energy out there on the field.
For sure, Cedric. So going back to what you were saying about Ohio pitchers, Coach Moore told us earlier this week the coaching staff has been working with the pitchers a lot. And he tells his pitchers, you cannot be scared of contact, you know? You've got to face the reality that teams are going to get hits off of you. And it's just a matter of what kind of hit you allow them.
That's right. Is it the difference between the weak ground balls, or are you allowing those hard hit barrels to the ball? Speaking of putting the barrel to the ball, Nick Dolan puts that up high in the air to left field. And Roberts comes up to make the catch. Great insight there, Ellie. Thank you so much. It's really the big thing that Coach Moore talked about in regards to pitching when we asked him about that in the pregame interviews was, hey, what are you trying to teach your pitchers? Don't be afraid of the hits. You're going to give up hits. It's college baseball. You got some very talented hitters all over the place, but can you limit the damage when it happens? First pitch curveball from Bach is there for a strike. Continues to be on the money. That's been his best pitch today, in my opinion. Pitch to Blake Reed. And that one's inside to even up the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. He'll flare that 1-1 pitch into the air. That was a pitch high up in the zone and resulted in a high fly ball. No problem for A.J. Hinkle. So pretty quick inning so far for Brandon Bach. If you want to talk about a crazy statistic right now, he has retired 12 straight batters. He'll fire in the breaking ball in the first pitch, and that's there for a strike to Billy Adams. Has a strong travel ball background in his own right. Played for the Lake Erie Warhawks. We'll look at another breaking ball, and that one finds the edge of the zone for a strike. So back-to-back curveball strikes. And with 2 away in the inning and the base is clear, a chance to go to the 6th. The 0-2 is fouled off to the right side and might land in the nearby Hockin River.
Going back to what you said about Bach, though, baseball's a long game. Had a rough first inning, but he's just been dealing ever since, and he's showing it right now.
It's been really impressive. The 0-2. That one's flared foul by Billy Adams. Adams struck out swinging the last time he was up. When it comes to Brandon Bach, his season high for innings pitched is 6. He's gone at least 5 in all of his starts. The 0-2, and Adams gets just a piece of it. But in his first matchup against Kansas, he pitched 5 innings with 4 hits, 2 earned runs. Pretty great performance there. Also struck out 4. And then against Houston Christian, he struck out 5 in 6 innings of work there. 0-2 home. Fastball hit to the right side and foul towards the on-deck circle of UIC. But one thing I always love looking for in pitchers is that strikeout to walk ratio. What do you have in that area? It's 9-5 for Bach, but that's about to change here. 0-2. It's kind of fitting that it was 9-5 because he's really going to work like it's at a 9-5 job.
Absolutely, and we got batters on both sides too going to work, especially with two strikes. Seen it in both innings, just batters staying alive.
0-2 chopped on the ground right, Bach to Bach as he throws it down to first base to retire the side. As we head to the 6th inning, another 1-2-3 inning for Brandon Bach. He's retired 13 in a row, but that hasn't stopped the Bobcats from keeping their lead 2-1 as UIC will look to bounce back and take the lead or tie it as we go to the 6th inning. Welcome to the 6th inning here at Bob Rinn Stadium. The Bobcats with a 2-1 lead against UIC. They have a new pitcher on the mound. Blake Gasky finishes his day, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned run, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And now this brings us to the new pitcher into the game. It's Zach Weber. First pitch sent right down Broadway by A.J. Taylor, and that's into the outfield for a base hit. So UIC gives Zach Weber a rude awakening.
Like the aggressiveness there by Taylor, not afraid to swing at the first pitch on a new pitcher.
Why not when you can? But going more to Zach Weber, 6'2" junior from Lebanon, Ohio. That's over near the Cincinnati area. Last year, he made 15 appearances with 5 starts. And over 40 innings, he struck out 22. We'll look to do that same to Nicoludis here as the pickoff attempt is not in time over to first base.
We have a pinch hitter for the Flames, Garrett Kay,
Well,
freshman.
nice eye, good eye there. Garrett Kay into the game for Nicoludis. He's in for the DH position, so I don't expect any defensive substitutions there, but you could see that later on in the game as this matchup goes on. But Garrett Kay, freshman outfielder, stands at 5'10", and he's from Waterford, Wisconsin. See, this is also why I love being able to do these games not alone. During the Northwoods, I did solo play-by-play, and I enjoy that too. But there's just something special when you got some other people joining you. With, of course, Ellie and Carson. Is that one chopped down the middle? Step on the base, second base back for one. The throw down the first in time. What a play by J.R. Nelson.
Nelson fields the ground ball and he says, I'll do this myself. Carries the ball over to second and makes a nice throw to first for the double play.
So the bases are clear and 2 away in the inning now for Zach Weber. Great work by the Bobcat defense and by Weber to get a weaker ground ball that led to this double play. And now James Harris, who's coming off of a base hit the last plate appearance he had, trying to make it 3 trips on the base pass for him as it's a righty-on-righty matchup. When it comes to the pitch mix for Weber, you'll see a fastball at 90, a curveball at 79 to 81, and a changeup from 80 to 82. 0-1 pitch. Fastball gets away from Alex Finney. With nobody on the base pass, no harm, no foul. 1 ball, 1 strike to James Harris. 1 for 1 with a walk. Ball hit on the ground and foul to the left side. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 away with the bases clear. Top of the 6th inning. On the season this year, Weber 1-1 as a pitcher. He's pitched in 4 innings, has given up 5 hits, 2 earned runs. His walk 3, has struck out 3. The next pitch is blooped over to the right side and foul. Right into the bullpen of UIC, where there does not appear to be any activity over there. The count remains the same, 1 ball and 2 strikes. To the Chicago native, James Harris. Check swing on the 1-2, and that one just missed low and away. Two home. Just a hair outside on the fastball. 3 balls and 2 strikes. But you can see the speed of that fastball. You could tell when it's 90.
Weber looking for that knockout punch right here, throwing some heat.
The payoff. And that's fouled backwards. Good at-bat here for James Harris against Zach Weber. Very competitive ball game, and the score reflects that. 2-1.
This has to be annoying if you're on the mound. You got 2 strikes, but this batter just keeps fouling them off, staying in there. Just won't go down easy.
Here's the payoff. Check swing at that one. The appeal, and there's strike 3. First strikeout of the day for Zach Weber to retire the side, and the Bobcats will look to add on to their lead as we head to the home half of the 6th. Ohio 2, UIC 1. You're watching Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium for the home half of the 6th inning. And once again, we are joined by Ellie. What update you got?
So, with Ohio introducing a new pitcher this inning, the team still stayed consistent with that communication and support from the dugout. You can tell Weber listened to his coaches when they said, don't be afraid of contact. I mean, despite his opponents getting some hits, he trusted his pitches and his team to keep that lead and even striked out James Harris.
Yeah, that's right. A nice strikeout there to get some momentum for Zach Weber. He also forced the weak contact on that double play in which his teammate J.R. Nelson made one heck of a play. And that's something that gives you so much sustainability in a game, Ellie, is if you can get those weak contact instead of having to worry about striking out everybody, that can help you go pretty long in the game. Once again, great work, Ellie. Thank you. So we got the 9-1-2 in the order for Ohio. J.R. Nelson, Alex Finney, and Paulie Mancino. Nelson has definitely stamped his name on this game from a defensive perspective. But Brandon Bach makes a nice play on the one hop chop right to him. And that's one up, one down. Nelson goes down on the 1-3 right up the middle. And now it is 14 batters in a row that have been retired for the Bobcats. What do the Bobcats need to do, Carson, to get out of this rut?
Just don't be so swing happy, I guess, because they've been swinging at a lot of pitches that have resulted in either quick ground ball outs or strikeouts. Just a lot of quick, 1 to 2, 3 pitch outs for this team. Haven't had consistent at bats really since that first inning where they put up a 2 spot.
Well, Alex Finney will look to change that here. He is 1 for 2 on the afternoon, at least in this game 2, I should say. And he'll swing through the next pitch to make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ohio scored their runs in the first inning off of a 2-run bomb by Paulie Mancino to left center field, scoring Alex Finney. 1-2. Fastball dialed in outside for ball number 2. Well, Finney, he's had increased playing time with each season. 2020, he played 3 games, 2021, 9, 2022, 30, as he'll swing through the 2-2 for strike number 3. And that's the 6th strikeout of the day for Brandon Bach. Man, we did say he needed to bounce back after the first home run that he gave up, and he's certainly answered, Carson.
It almost feels like that first inning just didn't happen with the way Bach has been performing on the mound.
First pitch misses outside to Mancino. Saying about Finney, 30 games played in 2023 or 2022 and 43 games played in 2024. That's some really good stuff, getting more and more time as Mancino puts one in the air into foul territory, and there is room for Kendall Ewell to make the catch, and that retires the side. A 1-2-3 inning. I'm sounding like a broken record. Brandon Bach, he's through 6 here at Bob Wren Stadium. We're headed to the 7th. You're listening to Ohio Bobcat TV. Top of the 7th inning. And the Flames have grabbed the bats, looking to tie it up or take the lead in this frame. They've been stifled by the combination of Blake Gasky and Zach Weber, as the only run scored has been off of an error in the outfield. Weber's first pitch, fastball, paints the outside of the zone for a strike to Roberts. The left fielder is 0 for 2 on the day. We'll see him, Zielinski, and Hinkle. There's a 3 due up in the frame. One funny thing, this is the first time that Zielinski has not led off an odd inning. This time it's now the 9-hole hitter. 1-1 from Weber. On the ground to the right side and does stay fair. There's the play for Wes Lugg. And that's out number 1. Or do they call it foul? Yeah, they did say late foul. Yep, late foul. So never mind there. They do say that Robert stays alive.
From our angle up here, it looked like Lugg got to the ball before it went foul, but
yeah, the umpires, when they put the hands up in the air, yeah, that
first base umpire saw something that we didn't.
Here's the 1-2 home. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Weber went upstairs and got him on the fastball. So second strikeout of the day. And no matter what the play was called a few moments ago,
doesn't matter anymore. Happens.
So here comes Zane Zielinski. It's in the leadoff spot for the order for UIC. Takes the first pitch inside for ball number 1. Zane Zielinski's from Chicago, Illinois originally, and transferred to UIC from Northeast Community College. It's a big part of the 2023 UIC team that went 28-25 last year, above 500 record. Played in 50 games, starting 47 of them. As the 2-0 pitch, chopped foul to the left side for strike number 1. But Zielinski, he had a really big game on May 5th against Belmont. One of his top games of the season. He had a 3-hit, 3 RBI day. Nice work there by the senior. And at 6'3", 175. 2-1 home. Breaking ball misses inside. Count is 3 balls and 1 strike.
Weber definitely playing around with the borders of that strike zone here in this at-bat.
Yeah, he utilized the curveball that last time. Let's see what he dials up on the 3-1. That one's fouled off. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Reminder, we got more Bobcat and Flames baseball coming up tomorrow. 12 o'clock noon, we will have that game right here on YouTube. And then Tuesday, we'll be moving over to ESPN Plus for the game against Youngstown State, which will be the first OU baseball game, at least home baseball game, on ESPN3 in school history. That's going to be exciting. Or ESPN Plus, to be more specific.
You guys have a beautiful day ahead of you for tomorrow's game as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome one. I'm excited to be back at Bob Ryan Stadium for that one. Mother Nature will hopefully be smiling at us. Here's the payoff. That one's into left field and down for a base hit. Zane Zielinski with his first base hit of the game. Zielinski was previously 0 for 2 and did reach on a hit by pitch. And now the lone runner to have scored today for UIC is back on the base paths. Again, to showcase how good the pitching staffs have been on both sides, Carson, only 3 hits apiece for either side. First pitch fastball to A.J. Hinkle is upstairs for ball number 1.
And Hinkle did some damage in the last game, too, with runners on base. So kind of the same situation here.
Sure did. He had a couple of home runs to left center field. A.J. Hinkle finished second on the UIC Flames last year as the runner goes, pitches a ball to throw down to second base, is offline and into the outfield. Zielinski continues to go, and he's going to jog his way to third base. And the Flames are now 90 feet away from tying this game.
throw was kind of offline, and there was no backup there to prevent the ball from getting into center field, which allowed Zelensky to move up an extra 90 feet. That could prove costly for Ohio later on.
So 4th error of the series for the Bobcats, and now 10 errors in their last 5 games.
Not what Coach Moore was hoping for coming into this series.
Here's the 2-0 pitch. Hinkle puts that one up the middle, fielded by Billy Adams, throws it down to first base for 1. However, UIC ties it up as Zelensky scores. Flames were down 2-0 after 1, and just like that, it's all tied up again as we are in the 7th.
UIC not letting their flame die out.
See what you did there, man. I like it. I like the way you think.
You've been playing with the English language all day. I figured I'd take a crack at it.
Why not? Why not? No, we have Bobcats in the place, so I'll say that was a perfect pun. Here's Jackson Bissett. A nice work there by Hinkle. All you needed to in that situation was just get some sort of ground ball, especially since there was no automatic play at home. It created a tough situation for Adams. If he would have thrown it down to home plate, he would not have been able to get there in time. So just decided to take the safe out where he could.
Definitely a situation where if the infield had been in, I would have expected maybe a play to the plate. But because the infield was playing at normal depth, I can understand why just taking the out at first would have been the more ideal play there.
Count is 2 balls and 1 strikes to Bissett. He reached on an error and reached on a walk, so he has reached base twice today, but is overall 0 for 1 on the game. We're in the top of the 7th. UIC, who trailed 2-0 ever since the first inning, they have chipped away with a couple of paper cuts, a run in the 3rd and a run in the 7th. Here's the next pitch. 2-2, and there's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Breaking ball by Zach Weber picks up his 3rd strikeout, but not before UIC could tie it up. It's 2-2 as it's time to stand up and stretch at Bob Rinn Stadium. The final 2 and some changes is bound to be a fantastic one. Stay with us on Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Bob Rinn Stadium, where the Bobcats now find themselves in a tie ball game for the first time since the first inning. And the first pitch is a nasty curveball that gets Gideon Antle to swing and miss. Count is 0-1. A.J. Roush and Wes Lugg also do up in the frame against Brandon Bach, and that one is flared deep to left center field. Goodbye, baseball. Gideon Antle with his 3rd home run of the season. And just when I said the Bobcats in their first tie game in a while, Gideon Antle changes that with 1 swing.
Well, that tie doesn't last long, and that is one way to get your first hit since the first inning. Solo blast, taking the lead right back to Ohio.
That ball got over the netting that protects people's cars. So I hope if you parked out there that your car did not get the baseball through that one. But that ball was absolutely tattooed by Gideon Antle. And that is a big-time home run, especially in a close game like this one. Here's A.J. Roush. Puts one through the left center field gap. And that is another base hit. Bats are humming early in this 7th inning for the Bobcats. Who else but Gideon Antle and A.J. Roush, two of the best hitters on the Bobcats, to give them that spark when they needed it.
Absolutely. That's a great 1-2 punch there for Ohio, and they're showcasing it right now.
For the first pitch, Wes Lugg shows bunt and takes it for ball number 1. A little bit of an off-speed pitch there from Brandon Bach, who, before giving up that home run to Gideon Antle, retired 16 batters in a row.
What a run.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. At least eating up a lot of innings here. He's working into the 7th. The last pitcher who started for UIC, Schuler, in game number 1, he went 7 with 6 hits. Wes Lugg puts down that bunt. Bach fields it, throws it down the first base for 1, but still a productive plate appearance for Wes Lugg. That pushes A.J. Roush into scoring position for the Cats.
Anytime you can move someone into scoring position with only 1 out and you're trying to add to a lead, that's very productive.
Here comes Nick Dolan. Dolan looks at the first pitch, breaking ball outside. Dolan is 0 for 2 on the afternoon. The clouds start to roll in a little bit more. Lights on at Bob Rent. Box 1-0 on the way. And that one's upstairs for ball number 2. Nick Dolan's originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, attending Baldwin High School. He was a 2-sport star back then, though. He didn't only play baseball, also played a little bit of basketball as well, which I think is really underrated. A lot of times nowadays it's baseball 24/7, or if you're a football player, football 24/7, or if you're basketball, basketball 24/7. But when you play multiple sports utilizing different muscle groups, it can be really important for an athlete. Here's the 2-1. Fastball skied high in the air. This is in foul territory and no play for UIC. Maybe I shouldn't call it foul territory. I should call it souvenir territory.
No, but that's one of the things I like about what you said about being a 2-sport athlete growing up. And one of the benefits that comes from that as a former 2-sport athlete himself is that a lot of the things that benefit you in one sport can also be really helpful for the other sport. The training, the things you do, they all kind of work together.
The 2-2 pitch. That one's in the air. This one should stay in the field of play. A.J. Taylor makes the catch from his second base position. So that's 2 away in the frame. 3-2 lead for the Bobcats now. I apologize, forgot to switch that score. So 3-2 is the score there. There you go. And this brings us to a pinch hitter. It's Cole Williams coming in for Blake Reed at DH. And here we go. We got a mound visit for UIC. Of course, the Flames coached by Coach McDermott. Sean McDermott's been there for over 25 years. And he's also had his fair share of guys that have made it to the MLB, or at least guys that have been drafted into Major League Baseball, including Connor Ryan of the Cincinnati Reds, the most popular team here in Athens, Ohio, of course. So Mickey McDonald, the Oakland A's. David Cronin of the Chicago White Sox. I know that has to be especially nice when you get a Chicago player getting drafted to one of the 2 Chicago franchises. Jake Dahlberg of the St. Louis Cardinals as well, too. So really impressive there that as you continue to coach for a long period of time, in your wake, you also get a lot of guys that ultimately make it to at least the minors and give themselves a shot at playing baseball on that next level. So here's Bach trying to find a way to get through 7. Swing and miss on that first pitch to Cole Williams. the senior utility man out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And he's a guy that went from rival to ally for the Bobcats. He transferred from Marshall, which is one of the rivals for the Bobcats. He started his season over there at Marshall on an 11-game hit streak before coming over to Ohio and now being a teammate of the Bobcats. But he'll get opportunities against the Thundering Herd. The Bobcats always play Marshall in a home and home in midweek action play. The 1-1 breaking ball finds the inside of the zone for a strike.
It's another thing I think is unique about college baseball is having those non-conference home and homes in season, playing a non-conference team at home at one point and then on the road later on, or vice versa.
1-2 pitch, and that's fouled over towards Pruitt Field, which is where the field hockey team plays for the Bobcats. Also, the track team runs there for outdoor track season. Count is 1-2 strikes with 2 away in the inning and a runner in scoring position in A.J. Roush. Here's the 1-2. That one's low, and it gets away from the catcher, Bassett. He's still looking for it, and Roush takes third base. Bobcats looking to double their lead. Roush is 90 feet away with Cole Williams. And a 2-ball, 2-strike, 2-out situation here. One thing Coach Moore really was happy about his team for doing so far this season was hitting with runners in scoring position. Can they do that here? 2-2 pitch. And that one's outside. A good take by Williams. But the Bobcats, they bat .295 with runners in scoring position. Lefty on righty matchup, or lefty on lefty matchup, I should say, and there's a walk. Well-earned plate appearance there for Cole Williams. And for Bach, that is just the first walk of the day.
Golden opportunity here for Ohio. Add some insurance coming in late.
So here is Bassett talking a little bit with Brandon Bach out on the mound. Here's Billy Adams up at the plate. Runners on the corners, looks at the first pitch fastball for strike number 1. With runners on the corners, you could see Cole Williams try to swipe the second base bag. Especially given how risky it would be if Bassett wanted to throw as Adams puts one on the ground to A.J. Taylor. The throw to first base is in time. And UIC able to strand a Bobcat in scoring position. But not before Ohio could take the lead back. Gideon Antle, a solo bomb to left center field. That's the third home run to left center that we've seen today. Ohio up 3-2 as we head to the 8th. You're watching Ohio Bobcat TV. Top of the 8th inning here at Bob Rinn Stadium, Game 2 of the doubleheader between the Bobcats and the Flames. And Ohio just took the lead a few moments ago thanks to some heroics from Gideon Antle.
Yes, Cedric. So I went down to the dugout for that inning. And Gideon Antle with that home run to bring the Bobcats back into the lead. The team was electric after that. You could tell the change of energy. I think that hit is what gave AJ Roush the confidence to steal third with 2 outs, also.
Exactly. Once the confidence starts, it kind of snowballs as it goes downhill. You're picking up more and more momentum, more and more steam. Going back to how you began the broadcast, Ellie, with talking about momentum, that's something that is momentum for Ohio. Making a big splash play like that, a home run, gets everybody going again. You got the confidence building, and that is good for the Bobcats, who are up 3-2 and looking to close out this game. We'll move on here to the field of play. Here's Kendall Ewell, and he flares one foul to the right side. Count is 1-2 strikes to Ewell. Thank you so much for your great work, Ellie. So Rafe Peterson and A.J. Taylor, they'll also be due up in the frame for UIC. They're sitting at 5-4 on the season, looking to get to 6-4. They can find a way here in the 8th and 9th inning. Here's the pitch from Weber. Fastball swung on and missed for strike number 3. 4th strikeout of the day for Zach Weber.
And Ohio's hoping that the momentum that we just talked about that they created from the bats can also translate over to the pitching. And Weber's looking for a shutdown inning. Got a good start there with the strikeout.
Kendall Ewell goes down for the 4th time today. He's 0 for 3, or I should say the 3rd time today. He's 0 for 3. And this brings us Rafe Peterson. Takes the first pitch low and away. Peterson had a ground out to the pitcher, a ground out to the first baseman, as well as a strikeout to his name. Weber, he's been dealing and gets that nice pitch there on the outside part of the zone for strike number 1. Count is 1-1 strike with 1 away and the base is clear. 3-2 lead for Ohio in the 8th. And that one is lined over to left field, and that ball is down for a base hit. Extra bases for Rafe Peterson, working his way to second, and he'll put on the brakes with a key double for UIC.
It's a perfectly placed hit, too. Ball pretty much in the corner of that outfield, all the way to the wall, and it allowed him to get all the way to second base.
Peterson's a player that can really get it going for UIC. He had a season-high 4 hits and 2 doubles last year against Valparaiso, and he's got his first double of the series with that hit he had a few moments ago. So runner in scoring position here for A.J. Taylor. He'll take the first pitch for a strike. Taylor started off his career at the College of DuPage, where he was a National Junior College All-American and won Region 4 Player of the Year honors for batting .413 in 51 games this season. He does fall for the off-speed pitch there. The count is 0-2 as Weber's up ahead. That was a changeup a few moments ago there from Weber. It's in his arsenal, of course. The 0-2 on the ground to the left side and goes foul. So the Bobcats, they are 2-5 in this matchup right now, or 2-5 going into this matchup. They've lost 5 in a row after the red-hot start to the season against Lipscomb. They were swept against Campbell and lost the first game of this doubleheader 5-0 to UIC. 0-2 is low and away. Count is 1-2 strikes. The Bobcats looking to get back on their saddle and improve to 3-5. Especially knowing that they only have this game tomorrow, and game Tuesday. The 1-2, blooped in the air, over to left field. Roush makes the catch. No tag up from Peterson. He'll stay at second, and that's 2 away in the inning. Taylor goes down on the F7, and this takes us back to Garrett K.
It's good movement out there by A.J. Roush. Kind of took first step in the wrong direction, but he recovered, got back, and was able to make the play.
Righty on lefty matchup against Garrett K., the player that came in not too long ago. He came in the 6th inning for Pombo Nicoludis. Take the first pitch low. But as I was mentioning, the Bobcats up ahead, you have your last couple of home games here of non-conference play against UIC, and then you have Youngstown State on Tuesday, and then you're going right into MAC play with NIU. Ball chopped foul. So with conference play coming up, you want to try to give players a lot of experience. But also, one thing Coach Moore continued to say in the interview was, hey, we're going to try it. We're planning to win games as well. We're going to put the best guys out there, which is because it's only the best guys out there. You're going to see still a mix that you have a lot of talented individuals. Nice off-speed pitch there. Gets K to swing and miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And these are also games that you want to get better. You want to work the kinks out so that when MAC play rolls around, you're playing your best baseball.
1-2 home. On the ground to the right side. Fielded by the first baseman, Lug. He'll do it himself. And that retires the side with a runner left in scoring position. The Bobcats, they maintain their lead, and they're looking for a little bit of insurance in the home half of the 8th inning. You're watching Bobcat Baseball on Ohio Bobcat TV. So bottom of the 8th inning. And we got a new pitcher on the mound for UIC. But before we introduce him, we got to give a shout out to Brandon Bach. A strong start, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. A quality start. However, it did not get the run support, so he is in line for the loss. The first pitch from Wahobiak makes his presence known, gets Nelson to swing and miss there. As we'll see, Nelson, Finney, and Mancino, the 9-1-2 in the order for the green and white here in the 8th, looking for a little bit of insurance, so to speak. If they can tack on maybe 1 or 2, that's going to put the pressure or take the pressure off a little bit in the final inning, especially if a closer were to come in or if they were going to give Weber the continued nod. Count is 2-1 to J.R. Nelson, but the new pitcher, Presley Wahobiak, the freshman righty from Brookfield, Wisconsin. 2-1 pitch. Now misses the zone low, 3 balls and 1 strike. Quite an interesting pitch mix, Carson. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, throws a fastball going as high as 91, and then his number 2 option is a curveball between 70 and 76, followed by a changeup between 76 and 78 miles per hour.
Yeah, we saw the curveball for the first pitch to get Nelson to swing and miss here, and now the count is 3 balls and 2 strikes. A couple pitches later. Here's the pitch. That one popped in the air as Nelson got underneath that one. And no problem for A.J. Taylor at second base.
And having that difference in speed between your 2 pitches is effective because you can throw a heater on one pitch, and then the next pitch you can throw the batter off guard with that slow curveball. I look for Wahoviak to maybe use that to his advantage here, as there's 2 outs remaining in this bottom of the eighth.
Yeah, I agree, Carson. There's so much disparity in the speeds. You have 91 as the peak for the fastball. You got the 78 to 76, 76, 78, kind of up around that 80 changeup. And then you have around the 70s with the curveball. That's 70 to 76. So a lot of variety in the speeds. The 1-0, line deep to left. Alex Finney's hit does fall short of the wall, though, as it is caught by A.J. Hinkle working to his right. So a fly out to center field, and that's a quick 2 up, 2 down for Wahobiak. Player that's made a couple of relief appearances this year. He's appeared in 3 games, 1 against Kansas, 1 against Incarnate Word, and 1 game against Houston Christian. His maximum innings pitched is 2 1/3. He dials up the first pitch breaking ball to Mancino. That's high of the zone. He's had some decent outings. Had 1 inning of scoreless work, which was good, as that one put on the ground by Mancino. The throwdown is in time by the shortstop Zielinski. And before you could even say University of Illinois at Chicago, that inning is complete. 1, 2, 3, down they go. And for the UIC pitchers, out of 8 innings, this is their 6th 1, 2, 3 inning of the day. But nevertheless, the Bobcats lead 3-2, and they'll look to close it out as it all comes down to this, the 9th inning at Bob Rinn Stadium. Stay with us on Ohio Bobcat TV. Here we go. Grab your popcorn. The top of the 9th inning between the Bobcats and the Flames. 3-2. Ohio with the lead, and they'll look to close it out. Zach Weber looking to complete 4 innings of work in his relief effort. He'll take on James Harris, Carson Roberts, and Zane Zielinski, the 8-9-1 in the order. For the UIC Flames, they need 1 to tie and send it to the bottom of the 9th, or 2 to put all the pressure on the Bobcats. First pitch of the 9th inning finds the outside part of the zone. Count is 0-1 to James Harris. He's reached base twice today. Walked in the 2nd, singled in the 4th. Fastball on the money that time for strike number 2. Bobcats looking to split this one down the middle. They lost the first matchup 5-0 of this doubleheader. We're seeing a lot of speed from Zach Weber early. That one just missed outside, though. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Weber winds and kicks on the 1-2. That ball is blooped to right field, and Mancino, no problem. 1 up, 1 down after the fly out to right field. Carson Roberts is coming up to the plate. Zane Zielinski now is in the on-deck circle. Every time Zielinski has reached the base paths, UIC has scored. So for the Bobcats, you'd want to try to end it off as soon as you can. Here's the pitch to Roberts. Once again, Weber on the money, picking up steam as he goes longer and longer into this game.
Weber's just continued to attack more and more the longer he's been in this game, as you just said.
0-1, wave and a miss. That time went with the off speed. And the count is 0-2. Nice switch up in the pitch there from Zach Weber. That was the change. And got Roberts to look silly. Here's the 0-2. On the ground to the right side. Billy Adams, the second baseman, makes the play to secure the 4-3. 2 up, 2 down, in UIC down to their final out. As I mentioned just a few moments ago, Zane Zielinski, every time he's reached base, he has scored. He reached the first time by a hit by pitch, reached the second time by a single. Weber dials up the first pitch. A breaking ball finds its way in for a strike.
You've got Hinkle and Bissett due up after Zielinski, two guys that are more than capable of doing damage.
Weber leaving it all out there. The 0-1 is low and away, and the count is evened up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bobcats looking to break a 5-game losing streak. They are 1 out away. Here's the 1-1. Just missed on the inside.
It was a close one.
That's one way you can really tell if a pitcher is doing great attacking the sides of the zone. The 2-1. On the ground to the left side and foul. Flames are down to their final strike. The 2-2 from Weber. On the ground to the right side. Adams racing. Adams chasing, and he has no throw. An infield single from Zane Zielinski. Talk about ice in your veins.
It's a little wide of a gap there between first and second base. And Adams just couldn't get there in time to make the throw.
And once again, Zielinski on the base paths, where he has scored every time he's been on base. If UIC can continue that trend, they'll keep this game going. The clouds roll in. Here's A.J. Hinkle. Weber's pickoff attempt not in time.
Would not be surprised in the least if Zielinski tries to make a run for second.
First pitch. That one's low and away to A.J. Hinkle. He has an RBI in this game today. He's got a grand total of 3 RBI in this doubleheader. A couple of solo home runs, as well as a ground out. Here's the 1-0. Runner goes, pitches outside, and no throw down to second base. Good call there, Carson. Said Zielinski might make a run for it, and now he's in scoring position. And here's the conversation here. Alex Finney going to go up to talk with his pitcher, Zach Weber. Also, Tim Brown going up to talk to his pitcher here, as now the situation's become a little bit more dicey for the Cats.
And I think it's kind of the same thing we saw from the last mound visit. There's 2 outs. Game is almost over. Forget about the guy at second. Just worry about the guy in front of you getting this out and putting this game away.
Each of these teams with 5 hits today. 2 home runs for the Bobcats in this game, while UIC a little bit more methodical with some base hits gap to gap, or at least timely balls that have been put into play, along with 1 error that was committed that led directly to a UIC run. Count is 2 balls, no strikes to A.J. Hinkle. Righty on righty matchup, and Weber deals the 2-0. And it counts 3 balls, no strikes, a good hitter's count for Hinkle. .3-0 home. And there's a 4-pitch walk. So just like that, the go-ahead run is now on the base pass for UIC. That is just the first walk of the day for Weber.
Down to their final out, UIC not going down easy one bit.
So 2 runners on for Bassett, who's reached base twice today, 1 on an error and 1 on a walk. Here's the first pitch. Takes a look at that changeup for strike number 1. Oh, 1. Check swing at that one, and that's ball number 1. 2 away in the frame. UIC down to their final out. But now they, after securing those first 2 outs, or at least Ohio securing their first 2 outs, UIC has had 2 base runners on in a row. 1-1 breaking ball is in there for strike number 2. And the Flames are down to their final strike. Weber's 1-2. On the ground to the right side. Billy Adams fields it on 2 ops. The throw down to first base is in time. And the Bobcats put out the Flames here in game 2 of the doubleheader. Ohio wins 3-2. Fantastic effort by the Bobcats to bounce back from the 5-0 loss to UIC in game 1. The pitching, fantastic. Blake Gasky goes 5 innings pitched with 3 strikeouts, and Zach Weber, he closes out the game, earning the win for the Bobcats with 4 solid innings of work and 4 strikeouts. Great work by the Bobcats. Great work by both teams picking up a win in this doubleheader. Any final thoughts, Carson?
Yeah, great pitching effort from Ohio all around from both pitchers. Combined effort to get the job done, limit UIC on offense, and then Ohio's offense didn't do a whole lot, only 5 hits on this game, but they did just enough to put the team out in front and secure a victory.
If you haven't had enough baseball yet, we got more coming to you tomorrow as the Bobcats take on these same UIC Flames coming up tomorrow, and we will have first pitch at noon right here on YouTube on Ohio Bobcat TV. For our sideline reporter, Ellie Metzler, and our color commentator, Carson Francis, my name is Cedric Granger, wishing you a goodbye from Bob Wren Stadium. What a fantastic day of baseball. 18 innings up, 18 innings down. First game, 5-0 Flames. Second game, Bobcats 3-2. Rubber match coming up tomorrow.